So the name of our panel is Almost Everything Sucks So Far. That tells you our perspective. Hello, I'm Michael Fertik. I'm from Heroic Ventures. I'm going to introduce in a minute my two co-panelists, and we're very lucky because there are legends of investing here in Israel and around the world. Quickly, my job is to make a kind of a quick overview, give you my perspective, and then I'm going to interview them for the purpose of the discussion. First of all, Yoav, Barel, thank you very much, and Alicia and Batya and the entire team. You've had an amazing success already, and we hope we're going to see you this year in California, Northern California, for Silicon Valley's version of Chatbot Summit. So let me give you my read as an investor, and I only do first money. I'm a first money investor, early stage investor. I want to be the first check. I want to fund a PowerPoint. My perspective on what the story is here in Chatbots, and then I'll invite the co-panelists and I'll interview them. They'll give you theirs. So Yoav gave us a good blueprint of what's going on. The most exciting thing that's happening is a combination of the advent, the arrival of foundational technologies, very important foundational technologies around speech recognition, speech to text, and so forth. So that's come, that's arrived. Today you can build a company you could not build 2 years ago. It wasn't possible because the technology was not there 2 years ago, maybe even 1 year ago. Number two, the footprint of the hardware, the homes, the Siris, right? The Alexas are now everywhere in our hands and also in the house and in the office. And so the footprint is making the opportunity for chatbot makers that much more attractive. However, most of the things we've seen that call themselves chatbots so far aren't really good. How many of you have used a chatbot that you absolutely think is amazing? Okay, look around you. There's like 0 people. There's like one person who's totally full of shit. You haven't seen it. That's bullshit. I know it because look around, like there's no one. No one. This is the Chatbot Summit. We haven't used a chatbot that's big. So, by the way, we will. It's very soon, it's very close, but we haven't done it yet. So, why? First of all, there are a lot of companies that are very interesting companies that are not venture companies, but very interesting companies that are basically building chatbots for one enterprise or 5 enterprises. They're kind of like a service model or an agency model. So that's a good business, but if you want to be a venture business, and it doesn't mean that you should be a venture business, but if you want to be a venture business, beware the agency model, because the agencies don't get funded by venture, they can't get funded by venture, and then when the venture companies come, they eat the agency companies every time. In every industry, in every field, in tech, it's what happens. The agency companies go, some of them try to convert, most do not succeed in converting to being product companies, very difficult, and then the venture companies come and then eat everybody. That's number one. Number two, beware of right now being a drill bit company. So do you know what a drill bit company is? So, or a gold rush, in the gold rush, the pickaxe, right? Some people go for the gold and some people sell the hammers and the pickaxes and the shovels, right? So already there are very smart people who are building shovel companies or pickaxe companies because they see there are a lot of chatbot companies out there and they want to start selling them services and building services that are good for them. I think, you would know better than I, but I think it's too early to build a chatbot pickaxe or drill bit company because there's just not a lot of great companies out there right now. So I think the opportunities, there's just not a big enough market for that yet. I think the opportunities are in dialogue, conversation, not a single query. What's the weather? That's the weather. Thank you. What's the weather? But an actual conversation. Number two, personality. Those are the 2 things that I think are really hot, that are going to be attractive and really required. So my suggestion, my invitation, and this is the landscape, then I'll introduce our co-panelists, is this. 1, be more ambitious, please. We're looking for entrepreneurs who are more ambitious in the sense that they want to build a product and not an agency. Number 2, be less ambitious. You like that? Be less ambitious. Make something that's really narrow. Really narrow. Just so long as it works. Give us something that works. One thing that works. Even if it's like making a sandwich with a bot. I don't know how you do that. But make something very simple. Very, very simple and narrow. Okay, now I have a very great privilege of introducing 2 legends. One is Moran, who's a legend, and he has invented many years ago the thumb drive. He has built many, many huge companies in Israel and globally. He's also the founder and managing partner of Grove VC, which is a leading venture investor in Israel. He's right here. And also then Kobi Samboursky from Glilot Capital, which, according to the Preqin report, was the number one VC in the universe. Do I sound like Donald Trump? In the universe. Not in the world, in the universe, Please come to the stage. Welcome Dov and Kobi Samboursky. Okay, we're going to sit here. Okay, so do we have microphones for them so we don't hand? Okay, perfect. So quickly, I have invested in a chatbot company and Kobi has. Dov has not yet. Dov, would you like to add anything to the introduction? And after that, can you tell us what you're looking for, why you haven't invested yet in chatbots, but what are you looking for when you do? What do you think the moment is? What's the opportunity right now?
Okay, hi everybody. First, great being here, great audience and great subject. I do believe that chatbots are going to happen, but they're going to happen in a very different way. Anybody can say here, what was the time that smartphone came to the market? Guys, how about you? How about you, Michael?
What's the question?
When the smartphones came to the market.
Smartphones, no, I don't know. I don't know when smartphones came to the market, no.
Anybody from the audience? First line, come on, guys, no? 2007, everybody says iPhone. But guys, smartphones came to the market actually at the year 2000. The first company who came with a smartphone to the market was HTC. It was a smartphone based on Microsoft Windows. And it was a disaster. What happened? 2007, the screen, by the way, was resistive. So you couldn't, to touch the screen, you had to really push hard, yes? And it was Microsoft, and is there anybody from Microsoft here? Microsoft sucks, okay? So it was Microsoft, and they put at the corner of the screen on the button there, the X, you know, the small X to turn off the screen. You should have fingers of aliens in order to push this X on the bottom top right side. So it didn't really work well. And then it took several years until somebody smart came with the concept of doing it the right way. Apple. Guys, we are at these situations. The chatbot that exists today, this is the HTC phones of 2000s. They are not smart. They are not fun. Working with them, you know, it's a machine. It's talking to machine. There is no real intelligence there. And any intelligence in the sense of if X then Y is not really intelligence. It's algorithm written by a programmer. So I do believe that where we stand today is the 2000 of the smartphones.
That's great. That's great. And Kobi Samboursky, would you like to add to your introduction and also talk about, if you want, the investment you did make and also why you made that kind of investment as a category and what you're looking for in this moment of the chatbot evolution?
Yeah. So thank you. Thanks. And it's really a privilege to be here. I actually relate very strongly to one thing that you have talked about, the hype cycle. And as an investor, I'm actually trying to always invest out of hype cycles because typically, again, investors tend to run and look for hypes. And I think as an investor, if you follow hypes, you're probably going to be too late. So I'm not too worried about, hypes. But I think what I would, encourage, you guys to do is don't think of yourself as chatbot companies because I think chatbot is a great underlying technology. But at the end of the day, you need to solve a specific problem and not to just create a great technology. And the company that we invested, actually, I would not define it as a chatbot company. It's a company called Exceed AI, and they're actually heavily using chatbots technology to improve the way brands or companies are talking with leads and with customers. So again, if I'm you, or if you're asking me about my thesis, is that chatbots are going to be huge, but it's not about chatbot companies. It's about companies that will know how to leverage this technology to solve various problems. And we've been heavy investors in cyber. We've seen a few great companies using chatbots to make it easier for cyber experts to solve problems. And there are some companies doing an amazing job in using chatbots to improve communication with end consumers, and so forth and so forth. So to me, it's about how we can leverage this great technology to create great companies that solve actual problems, and that will be my main focus for today.
So on this point exactly, I think it's a very interesting question, are you looking to invest in a company that uses a chatbot for a specific purpose like marketing or sales? Or the other approach might be, are you looking for a technology that can make chatbots possible? So conversational AI or some kind of underlying tool. What is interesting for you in this moment, and how are you seeing the market shape up?
So for me, it's more the first, and I think if you go to the latter, you have two issues you can face, and which could put you into trouble, and of course you can still solve them, but I think you should definitely be aware of it. I think if you're trying to create an infrastructure technology in this space, there's a big likelihood you'll be in the elephant path. They're just all the big technology companies are investing huge, top dollars to create a very strong chat infrastructure, and so to me, again, it's not to say that you cannot be successful on that, but the odds are very limited, and also the R&D money that you will have to spend is very big. And the other problem you may fall into is actually what you noted before, is you actually may become an agency. You may become a services company creating bots for various types of organizations. So again, not to say that you cannot succeed doing that, but we are today more looking into, again, companies that have a very clear idea what they are solving, and what they are solving is not a chatbot problem, it's another problem, and using chatbots to do it.
Dov, same question. And by the way, to give you some background, by reputation, these are both very serious technology investors. And so it's very interesting that Kobi, who is a very serious technology investor, is giving this perspective on how to use chatbot for a business problem instead of talking about underlying technology. Dov, do you have a view of that?
Yes, we are a bit different. We generally look for investments in deep technology. We don't invest in applications. Actually, thinking about it, we did recently completed investment in artificial intelligence, which is actually should be the heart of a good chatbot. Right. And that's a company that does actually what it does. It takes the logic out of the CPU into the DRAM, and therefore creates the abilities to execute commands required in artificial intelligence on a very large amount of data in one command, which is, of course, it requires a lot of know-how in AI, in semiconductors, relations with DRAM manufacturers, which I do have, luckily. And clearly this is sort of an infrastructure, yeah. And I think that a good investment would be not at the applications level, but in the infrastructure. If you look at generally the Israeli success stories, most of them are not at the application level, they are more at the infrastructure level.
It's very interesting. So you have, by the way, two very serious technology investors who are completely in disagreement about where the opportunity is, but they both agree that it's not an agency business. You have to build a product, something, whether it's a foundational product. So let's talk about the agency question. So we're in a room here with a lot of extremely brilliant and hardworking entrepreneurs. And because of where the world is now, a lot of the companies represented in this room are very understandably in a service business. They are building chatbots for large enterprises. And I've been able to meet many of you and very brilliant entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs. And every single one I met has an ambition to now convert from being an agency business into a product business to become some kind of maybe venture business, but certainly a product business. I have never in my life seen it work. Not a single time. Have you?
That's a very good point. I totally agree with you. I think.
So what's the advice you would give? Because they have amazing entrepreneurs. Would you tell them to stop, start again, have a subsidiary, a different company? How would you think about that as an investor talking to someone like that?
Let me tell you a story. It relates more to the cyberspace, but I think it's exactly the same issue. I think it was around 4 years ago where two brothers came to me with an idea of a cyber company, and they were running a cyber services company at the same time. And they were trying to convince me, or maybe themselves, that it actually makes a lot of sense to run those two from the same business, because they were, pointing out that they can use the same type of clients that they're getting from their services company into their product.
The story is always the same. We have customers, we have revenue, we have smart people. we are building products to serve each new customer so we can then turn it into a real product. It's always the same story in every industry. So let's talk about it very concretely.
And I heard it, I guess, like you know, tens of times in the last 7 years since I started to be an investor. And I told them essentially what I tell everyone that comes with these stories is, listen, if you really want to build a product company, you need to sell or close or do whatever you want to do with the services company, but don't even bother about it. Just put it aside, because if your vision about the product is really significant, if you really believe in it, the amount of money and success that you'll do in the product is not 10 times more, not even 100 times more, more than whatever you'll do on the services side. And in this specific case, these two brothers actually got the message and came back to me after a couple of months saying, look, we have sold already the services company, now let's find ways to work together. And this became a company that was called Orato and that we later sold to Microsoft for a nice amount of money, one of our greatest exits so far. So to me, it's exactly the same. If you really want
the team can do it, but they have to move on to a new business.
But they have to let go. And when I say let go, it's not about hire someone that will manage the services business or whatever. It's about really letting it go so you can 100% or 200% be focused on the product. It still does not mean that for sure you'll be successful, but the odds are suddenly becoming, significant.
Dov, do you have a view on this question?
Can I tell you a story?
Tell a story. Or Israeli, can I tell a story? Can I tell a story? First, before I tell a story, I have to tell another story. Tell a story.
I'm a storyteller. Actually, my first company, M Systems, was not established based on any unique idea, and we were not smart enough to see Flash is coming and we are going to lead the Flash industry. And the first thing I've done after leaving the Navy was to establish the company with the concept that as we didn't know about raising money. Raising money sounds very strange. You can raise flowers, you can raise oranges, but who is raising money? My father used to tell me, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, doesn't grow, כסף לא גודל על עצים. So I didn't understand the meaning of raising money. And the concept was, we will work during the days as subcontractors, customers, whatever, and during the nights we will develop products. Right. So it's a project on the day, product on the night, and that's a great combination. We don't need to raise money because we will make it by our own efforts. And clearly, this doesn't work. It cannot work. And everybody which comes to me today with this idea, my answer is, you have to decide what you want to do. If you want to establish a company with a product that would create a change and have an impact, do that. Do only that. I know it's difficult. I know that you don't have resources. I know that you come to us because you want money, you need money. Guys, it's a decision you have to take.
How many years have you been in high tech?
So many, tens of years.
How many years have you been in high tech?
He's a child.
Wow. No, it's been a while, probably like almost 20 years now.
So I'm 39. I started my first high tech company when I was 19. I have never seen this transition from agency to product company work, ever. Have you ever seen it work?
Yeah, I did a transition. I went from a company who does project to a company who does product.
But you just said you shouldn't do it.
Because what I did, I said, okay, let's forget about these projects.
Okay.
Let's jump into the water, stop that.
And you stopped all your customers, you stopped everything.
After beginning, I had the idea, I had the concept.
Have you ever seen another company do it?
It's very difficult. No, but the transition is possible. It's what I want to say, and it's important to say to these guys. Guys, to open a startup, you have to understand it's a sacrifice. It's not, okay, let's open a startup. It sounds great. It's a tough way, it's a long way.
But you can't do both at the same time.
You can't do a marathon and at the same time do races. Yes, you go to a marathon, do the marathon. Begin as a marathon. Make the preparations for a marathon. And don't think about doing a marathon while doing fast races here and there because it's fun, because it's a way to make money and it gets you closer to the target. It's totally wrong. You have to go all the way from the beginning, find a product, and if you didn't find a product, then go ahead. Maybe continue to work as an agency, do projects, whatever it is. But if you go there, go it the right way from the beginning, all your heart, all your efforts, all your time.
Okay, so two more things I'd like to accomplish. and the clock has shifted, so we have 4.5 minutes, and I hope to accomplish 2 more. Raise your hand, please, if you are basically in the customer service chatbot business. So it doesn't seem like a lot of you, which is surprising. So I've seen probably 200 companies, plus or minus 200 companies around Silicon Valley, basically, Seattle, that are trying to do chatbots for the IVR, okay? And basically the pitch is we're going to give you a 15% discount. I met a team last night that said a 60% discount. 15%, 20% discount to the amount of money you're spending on customer service agents and reps. I do not think that that is a venture-backable business. So I'm giving you my very strong opinion, just so you can hear one investor talk about it. Do you disagree? Do you think this is a big opportunity to get 10,000 conversations and to be in the IVR to get the conversations and to build the data set so you can build the intents and slots, so you can build a company that's scalable and attractive? Or do you think I am wrong? Or do you think I'm right or do you think I'm wrong?
I think you're right. Again, just referencing the point I was trying to make before. To me, it's about taking chatbots technology into like other less populated spaces. We've seen on this, one of the slides here, we've seen a company like Lemonade. Again, it's not a chatbot company. It's an insurance company leveraging this great technology to do a great insurance play, and it's I think a great play. I'm unfortunately not an investor there, but it seems like a great play. So those are the type of things that I would look for, and I think that are exciting.
Do you have anything to add?
Clearly, he said that he agrees. I have to say that I disagree.
Great.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
this is
Israelis,
useful.
you know.
Yeah, it's good.
And by the way, 10,000 is very low number, for whatever it is. Clearly, you should try to find a partner that does have the data. Data is very crucial. If you're going to do something which is meaningful, that is utilizing artificial intelligence and smartness, you should partner with somebody that has the access for data. Data is crucial, of course. And I do believe that looking for partners, even if it costs you part of the equity, is always a good thing to have.
Okay, so again, some different perspectives so you can offer it for your own thought process. The last thing is, I want to come back to the proposal, the suggestion, the idea that I had in my introductory remarks. So this concept of a drill bit company, I see the same cycle happen in every new industry, especially in high tech, over and over again. Very smart people in high tech are working on a new technology, in this case chatbots. And they wish they had some technology to borrow libraries, or they wish they had some technology to build on someone else's speech-to-text, or whatever it might be. And they then realized they could start a company to build a set of tools that other developers can use. SDK companies, drill bit companies, what I'm calling the shovel companies. My idea, and you should react to this. We have more time. They give us more time. Are we that interested? Okay, we're more interesting. Thank you.
That's Israel.
If I keep sounding, okay,
can stay
well,
here
keep
the whole
saying
day.
something controversial. So thank you for the time. So in the case of every cycle, the entrepreneurs who are in the industry, they're inside, they see it every day, they're living it. They often perceive that the market is ready for shovel companies, tool companies, SDK companies, long before the market is actually ready, maybe 3, 4, or 5 years before. And my idea, my proposal, you should react to it, tell me, add, disagree, agree. My idea is we are 3 years away from starting drill bit companies or shovel companies. And you should look right now to build an actual chatbot that works for some function or an underlying technology for some function, but not a company that sells to other chatbot companies. I think we're at least 3 years away. What's your opinion, Dov?
Well, my love is always to the guys who are building the infrastructure rather than the guys who are doing the applications. And can I tell you a story?
Before you tell me a story, I have another story.
There's an
That's an
investment
Israeli
I've done
accent, yes.
into a company that is called Rapid API. Rapid API is a company that was established by a guy that when I got to know him, he was 15 and a half. He's now, my first investment in the guy was, this is before I became a venture capital fund, so it doesn't really represent the fund, but it's my own investment. When I signed a contract with him, he could not sign the contract. His father had to sign the contract because he was too young. He was less than 16 years old. And 4 years later, today, he's there with a program that does that. He actually collects API, provides API to anybody, any developer. How many developers does he have? Make a guess.
7.
No. How many?
Oh, customers.
How many
How many
developers?
customers?
How many developers are using his program?
Oh, shit. I can't win this one. 200.
500,000.
500,000.
500,000
more than
developers
200.
are using his, constantly, every month, his program. How many transactions does he have in a month? Because if you want to approach a new program, Facebook, you actually go to him, and through him you go to Facebook, data goes through him, everything goes through him. And he has 8,000
What's
APIs.
the field? What's the field? What industry?
API
for what?
Everything. 8,000 APIs, that's what he has.
He made 8,000 APIs.
Rapid API, that's the name, yeah. How
Yeah, but
many
if you find
transactions?
Superman, you can invest in
How
Superman.
many transactions does he see in a month?
1 billion.
400 billion transactions in a month, 150,000 transactions every second. That's an Israeli guy, smart guy, quite old now. He's 20 years and 1 month.
But answer the question very concretely.
Unmarried, by the way,
We're-
to
we're
the
at-
girls here, he's
Dov,
unmarried yet.
Dov, we're running out of time.
What I'm
Very
trying to
concretely,
say-
for this field.
Infrastructure.
Okay, but for chatbots, you want to see chat infrastructure companies achshav now.
Sure,
Okay.
in development.
And Kobi,
Yes.
what do you think?
You want another story?
You have fewer. I bet
no,
your guy has fewer transactions than his guy.
No, I'm totally with you. I think. I
Agree with who? Me or him?
No, with you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I have
No,
to ask.
I think, look, we love infrastructure and we invest a lot of infrastructure, specifically in this space right now. As you say, I wouldn't try to sell something to chatbot companies because honestly, most of them will not be around in a few years' time. But again, honestly, I may be wrong. It's very, very hard to time the market. So, who knows? But that would be my gut instinct.
Okay, well, listen, I want you please to thank very much Kobi Samboursky of Glilot Capital and Dov Moran of Groby C. Thank you very much.